there, yeah. So we were right. Okay, guys. We've seen the first film, which you will have seen, because this is 3 going out together. If you haven't, then just look at the first film in this 3-part
kitchen
special.
Kitchen episode.
But nothing else, because the weather's crap and
Yeah.
what have you. So this is the best as we can. Try that again in English. This is the best we can do. So we're sorry about that. It's not that much more entertaining. But I am going to recount when I was a child. The first, because you're going back to 1960s now, and the cars that we had and the things that happened to us when we were kids in the cars that we had.
Down memory lane.
Yeah, so this is like I went down memory lane, because I think the earliest car that I can remember us having, because I've got to think about the first, because this would be when we were in Yeldersley. Yeldersley is in Derbyshire. It's near Ashbourne.
Ashbourne.
Yeah, it's on the road that comes out of Derby towards Ashbourne. And it's a place called Yeldersley. And we lived in you can actually street view it. You can see still see the house that we used to live in.
Oh.
In 1960. Five, six, yeah, 65, 66 is when we lived with Yeldersley. And I'll tell you another story. Right, this is related. I know it's not for cars that we had, but a memory that whenever I think of Yeldersley, the first memory I have is a really, really sad memory. Obviously, where we lived, there's a main road in front of the house. It's the A. I'll find out what it is and I'll put it on film, what this particular A road is. So it's a busy road. And we used to cross this road along the park to go down to where the coach used to take us to school. If the car that we had at the time, I told you related, would start in the morning to go, right, sorry about that interlude. You won't know because I'll just cut it so it kind of matches.
So during that time when you were a kid, sad moment, you were telling us about your sad moment.
Yeah, when we lived in Yeldersley, like I said, whenever I think
Okay, can I just interrupt? Sorry, I'm listening to, we are all being...
we're sorry about the background noise, which is the washing machine. Oh, come close.
Papa's here sharing the childhood. But let me just tell you, we just pre-boiled the potatoes, as you can see. Drain it because we're gonna roast it together with the chicken later. Should I put it now?
Put them in now. Honest to God, that's been in there now.
Put some oil on it.
That's been in there half an hour.
Others.
So
half an hour.
Yeah, so that's fine. So they're going to take, even though they're small, we want them to be just right. So we want to be almost crispy on the outside.
But the chicken is not yet. Not even brown.
Well, of course, it's nowhere near ready yet. But we can leave them in there for about 40 minutes as well. No problem at all.
Yeah, I think so. I think
so
we should
whack them in.
Whack it in. All right.
It's going to be perfect.
Sorry, darling. Can you keep going the story, darling?
I will do. Once I get them in there. Safety first, guys. Safety first. Anyway, back to Yeldersley. If you want to shut that. Where we lived, like I said, was the main road. So you had to cross the main road and walk down. That's if one of the cars would stop, because you had to start on the crank handle. Anyway, we'll get back to that. We had cats and we had dogs, and one of the cats, she'd had kittens.
Oh wow!
And one of the kittens used to, wherever we went, the kitten used to follow us. It was one of those.
That's nice.
So, and unfortunately, this particular time, we were coming back from school, we'd been dropped off, and the kitten was on the other side of the road, because it would normally not cross, purely for the fact that it just didn't like all the traffic and stuff.
Yeah.
This particular day, when the kitten saw us, straight away it forgot all about the fact that this is a main road and just ran across.
Oh.
And when it got 2/3 of the way, it was hit by a lorry. And then it was hit by, because there was a lorry and there was 1, 2, 3, I think I remember 3, there might have been more, but I think it was 3. And they all ran over the cat.
Oh no.
The kitten, it wasn't that old.
That's worrying. That's
And
not very nice.
you never forget something like that, because I'm only 6, and that the cat in the end was just a smudge. It didn't resemble a cat at all anymore. So yeah, I remember that one. A memory for you.
Gosh.
That'll make you old. Anyway, so getting back to the cars that we used to have. Well, we had to start really, because you've got to remember I'm young. We've had cars before this. I know my father had a Ford Zephyr. I can't remember the first car we would have had, because like I said, I would have been too young. But the car, say from the age of 6, that would make more sense. The very first one was a Hummer, and this thing was from it was from the 40s, like a 46 car or something like that. So this thing was rusted through. It was a piece of junk, and it would never ever start on the starter. It was never do that, because it never had enough charge in its battery, so you always had to start it on the crank handle, which is basically a handle that with a long piece here. You thread inside, and it goes to the front pulley on the car, and it locks in place, and then you turn this, which is turning the engine over by this crank handle. So you crank start.
I wonder where it's crank.
Yes, you crank it round, and then at the right time, as soon as you get it fast enough, you ask the person inside to turn the ignition on, so it goes boom, and hopefully you've got it fast enough spinning over to make it catch, so it makes a spark for all the cylinders, so they all start the car. But lots of times in the winter that was never happening, so lots of times we did that. So that would be one of the first ones. I'll tell you, we had a full Popular, and that was quite new. That was only about that was about the newest car we'd had to that point. This is, again, still living in the oldest thing. This full Popular. And that, I mean, I know we call it sit up and beg, because you've got, the front seats are quite upright, and you've got a dashboard, and then at the front of that you've got a great big long bonnet, which opens sideways, that opens sideways like that.
Oh,
yeah. If you just look up Ford Popular, you're going to be looking at the 1950s Ford Popular. That's what we had, and I tell you that as kids, we loved that car, or those cars, because we had 3 of those. This was the first one, and the best one. It was the very first one we had, but that didn't last long. That only lasted around. I can't remember exactly, but I know it wasn't very long, because it seemed like we'd only had it a couple of weeks, and then it was gone. And I'll tell you what happened. My stepfather was coming back from Ashbourne in the car with my mum, because you remember my sister was 4 years older than me, so even though I'm 6, my sister's like 12, so it's cool. So, or whatever age she was. So we were at home, my brother and my sister, and my stepfather was to be alive. It breaks down. I alternate, it wasn't. It was a dynamo in those days. The dynamo had packed up. Probably the brushes had been whatever. It was actually more brushes. So it conked out. It stopped running. But this road has got humps in it. So if you're going along and you go down a hump and then up, if the road, you can't see the road ahead. Now, if something's in that hump, you're not going to see it until you go over.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the bloody thing broke down. They coasted to the bottom of this hump. And then my stepfather was at the back, while my mum's standing at the side, steering it, and they're pushing it along to try to get it off the road onto the pavement.
Yeah.
And as they're doing that, literally, they just got out of the car to start doing this. As they do that, a lorry comes over the hill.
Oh my
Luckily,
God.
at the very last second, my mum looks and screams at my stepfather, "Gwyn, get out of the way!" And he turns round just before this lorry hits the back of the car. And I remember going to the garage where the car was as kids to see, because obviously you had to get the insurance money from it, so we went to see the car. The back of that car, the whole back of it was right up to the front seat.
Wow.
It was just, the whole back of the car was right up to the front seats. That's how the impact was. Now if he'd been standing there, he would have been squashed completely flat.
Wow.
Yeah, he would have been squashed flat. So yeah, that was the first Ford Popular we had. The other two, we had a grey one. Most things were black and grey in those days anyway. That was about it. Colour, sir, black or grey? A little green one. But we had one that we used to call Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. And we had one that was called Old Smoky, because that used to smoke a bit.
Yeah.
So when you would get a puff of smoke coming out, but you'd also get it come out the body because it was blowing oil. So we used to see I took about a laugh. I do remember. Oh my God! We were going to. We were on our way to North Wales, and we were stopped by we were stopped by the police. When were we stopped by the police now? Oh, he was to tell us that the road ahead there was a flood, and you might not be able to get through. So, and he noticed that because it's on the hill. My mum's on the hill, so my mum's what you would call riding the clutch. She's using the brake. She's using the accelerator pedal and the clutch pedal together to hold the car. So it's not going downhill or uphill, it's just holding steady, and that's what she's doing. And the police officer noticed that, says, "Excuse me, madam, why don't you put your handbrake on?" And she said, "Well, I'd rather not." "Why is that, madam?" So she said, "I really do insist that you put your handbrake on, you know." I said, "Okay."